Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be on the long-awaited paludarium that I've been wanting to build for over 2 years now, since I started collecting plants. I thought now is the perfect time since my parents are moving to Florida. They could help me out before they leave. First step was to silicone everything to make sure that it was airtight. We did 2 layers. And we definitely had to wait in between. We did this in the garage, so there was ventilation. Then we added one of the shelves. I actually got this IKEA cabinet for free, guys. I cannot even believe it. Got it from a Facebook group that I'm a part of. And so we siliconed the shelf so that could act as the, basically like the border, so that I could add plants to the bottom as well. So we had to silicone the bottom, lay it down, and then stand it up and silicone the front. So it was a couple days in between, and then we got to the next step. So I basically got some rubber in a can. They sell this in a spray version, but I thought the can would be more effective because I'd be able to get everything. My dad did 2 layers, guys. He offered to do this, and I'm so happy he did because he helped me out so much. So after 1 day of it drying, we applied another layer, but this time with a roller, just so that we can get all of the sides and as well as the bottom. That way it'll be waterproof, and I can put the humidity really, really up high in here. So next day, it was time for the foam. I did a couple layers of pots. There's one there, and I had already made like a layer of foam on top and then stuck the branch. And then I'm going to do a couple more layers of different, pots and then foam on top. And then I'm going to stick the sheet moss on top. So here you guys can see I added more pots on top. And this is because I figured that because it's so deep, I can add multiple layers and add different plants basically everywhere. From this angle, you can see the different pots that I've added in, and you can't even see it on the other side, but on this side you can see. And then now you see I've added the moss on top. I have some preserved sheet moss, and then I actually foraged the rest from my backyard. And I know this is probably not the best idea, but I was working with what I had. I was really, honestly, just doing the best that I could. So I added all of the sheet moss, and then I added some rocks in with some more insulation. And honestly, I didn't know if I should add the rocks in. Maybe I should have planned it better, but I added them anyways. And then I added more insulation on top, and then I went back and tried to carve a little bit so that I can see the holes again. So after doing one side, I had to wait for 8 hours for it to cure, flipped it to the other side, and did the same thing with pots. And I didn't plan it as well. I think I added 3 pots, looks like, and just added moss on top and hope for the best. Honestly, guys, was just going with it. After 8 more hours curing, I did the other side, but this time I didn't add any pots. I did just a complete moss wall. I wanted to see which one would be better. So what I did notice, there was a couple gaps. This was after another 8 hours of curing. There were a couple gaps on the sides, so I wanted to make sure they were secure, so I went back in and foamed all the little crevices to make sure that this was completely secure. So as you guys can see now, this was it completely done. I needed to let it cure for another 8 hours to make sure that it was completely stuck on there, and then I was ready for the next step, which was carving. I did a lot of carving, guys. I wanted to make sure that I was utilizing the space in there, and the foam expands really, really, really big. So I wanted to make sure I carved in the right spots to not only make it as natural as possible, but also to utilize as much space as I could. Then the next step, of course, was adding the sphagnum moss. This took me 7 hours, guys. I didn't do it all in one sitting. I did it like 3 hours and another 4, and then maybe another 2 after, so more than 7. It took so long, and I used sheet moss, so you can imagine if I hadn't used it. Here it is all done, and I have to be watering this every single day until it takes. And something to note is that after I put all the plants in, I want to put actual moss on top so that it'll take a lot faster. But I wanted to make sure I get the plants in so I can put the moss on top of the plants. It'll make more sense once I video it for you guys. But this is it so far, and I'm really, really proud of myself. I'm so excited to show you guys the next steps, which is putting the plants in, and I'll definitely be putting that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I hope to see you in the next one.